Welcome, NoDQ Galaxy, and we are back with another edition of the NoDQ Review, and it is number 54, and I am a beardless virtue. Everybody laugh it up right now. Get it out of the way. Come on.
Bad about it.
So, yes, I paid my debt of Daniel Bryan losing the WWE Championship to Kofi Kingston. So what's up, everybody? Aaron Rift, I'll start with you, man. What's going on?
I'm doing great. It's been another crazy week in the world of wrestling. We just had the 2019 Superstar Shakeup conclude, and there's once again plenty of topics to discuss. So I'm looking forward to it very much.
Sweet. How about you, TJS?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the NoDQ Review experience. I think you're going to love it. My new name is Arthur. That's Pete. There's Larry and Joe. We've got new names in our NoDQ Review experience. So.
Well, there you go. I might have a special segment. I don't know if I'm going to debut it yet this week, but we'll see. And it involves you, TJS. I'm going to keep the NoDQ Galaxy on the edge of their seat. Big G, what up?
What is up, fellas? Enjoying my days off. This coming Friday is my birthday. I got some big stuff planned, and we just had the Superstar Shakeup, like Aaron just said. And let's get this ball rolling, Virtue.
How old are you going to be?
31.
Okay. I was going to say, you're not a woman. You don't ask females their age, but...
Uh,
All right. Well, number 31. All right. Hey, you know what? We're going to talk about Superstar Shakeup first. Can you please...
Yes.
Make the announcement of who went to Raw. Everybody knows, but just rehash it. And who went to SmackDown.
Right. So, you had AJ Styles come back to Raw, The Miz, the team of Ricochet and Aleister Black, Andrade and Zelina Vega, Rey Mysterio, the Usos and Naomi, TJS's favorite person, EC3, the sassy Southern Belle, Lacey Evans, and from Sanity, broken up recently, Eric Young, from 205 Live, Cedric Alexander, possibly Samoa Joe, and the War Raiders. The Viking Experience. I'm so used to calling them the War Raiders. Anyways, from SmackDown, you had the big dog, Roman Reigns. You had Fonz, Finn Balor. You have the Hugger, Bayley. Ember Moon, Lars Sullivan. From the broken up Riot Squad, Liv Morgan, Chad Gable, Apollo Crews, Kairi Sane, Mickey James, and Otis and Tucker, Heavy Machinery.
All right, so the first thing I want to ask, we'll go around and what the key points you think were for each brand, what can make a difference. But, Aaron, I want to start with you. You know what? I don't think it bothers me because I understand why they do it. If you're a married couple in WWE, they actually package you together. I'm surprised, knowing Vince McMahon, just to be an idiot and a troll, he does not separate like Aleister Black and Zelina Vega, Naomi and, was it Jimmy? He's actually keeping married couples together, which I got to give him props for that. So,
and
Aaron,
Eric and Sarah Logan as well.
And it just, to me, that's not like Vince McMahon's philosophy. He loves to push the envelope with stuff like that. But nonetheless, Aaron, what's your big takeaways, pros and cons from the Superstar Shakeup so far?
Well, time will tell. I think we have to see how things play out over the next several months, but hopefully we'll get some new feuds. I think overall it's pretty good. I mean, I did like Finn Balor going over to SmackDown, and I presume that Samoa Joe will be going to Raw. I like Roman Reigns being on SmackDown with Fox and WWE having their relationship start up at the end of the year. Well, the fall, so around October.
Did he get cheered last night? Did that all? You know how he normally gets that mixed reaction?
Like
you think that
when
they piped that in, you think?
When he Superman punched Vince, I think he got cheered a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah, so overall I liked it, and I am perplexed by a few things. Of course, the name change to the War Raiders. I wonder what they're going to call Shayna Baszler when she gets called up. Maybe Bombastic Baszler or something. I don't know.
Sharon Corbin.
What was that?
Sharon Corbin.
Excuse me?
Sharon Corbin?
Yeah, she's Baron Corbin's twin.
Wow.
Aaron, remember back in the day it was Raw is War, and they got rid of
Yeah.
that for whatever reason. Maybe the Viking Experience can have a shirt that says Raw is Viking.
Ooh, there you go. I like it. You know, if it catches on, if like a couple of fans chant it, they'll make a T-shirt out of it because that's what they do. By the way, Big G, are your glasses coming off with TJS's comment?
I thought they would, but I got something for EC3. I meant TJS.
Ooh. All right. Well, Big G, what were your takeaways from the shakeup? Pros and cons.
I enjoyed both of them. Like you said, fresh feuds. We finally might get to see AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins. The Usos was good. It seemed like the Raw tag team got a boost, and the SmackDown tag team is going back more to. I mean, besides the Hardys, who do you have? The Bar, Heavy Machinery. Who else do you have on SmackDown now? And who else? I guess Rey Mysterio is fine. Like you said, Finn Balor, I think he needed a fresh change. Roman Reigns, obviously. I liked how I figured they called up Kairi Sane, which was good. So we'll see what happens in the next couple months, like you said. We'll talk about Roman Reigns later on, about something else. But TJS, what did you think about all of this?
Well, you forgot to mention Elias also went to SmackDown Live.
Yeah,
and I'm
Elias.
Brand. Yeah.
Elias is now known as the Decoy.
I think it's a good role for him though, where he's like the scapegoat or decoy, like you said. He's done it like at WrestleMania with Cena and Undertaker, and I just like that. I think that it's really. I don't know if Elias is going to be able to fit on SmackDown though with the 2-hour show. He was barely on Raw, so we'll see what happens. But I think the biggest names that switched are AJ and Roman. Obviously, Roman's a bigger star than AJ. And I think that, man, overall, I'm not really sure who won this Superstar shakeup because Raw got a lot of good stars. And they got more stars, but Roman is just such a big star that he kind of like counts for like 3, I guess. And Raw got only like one woman, and that's Naomi. I'm not sure. I kind of wish we saw the Bobby Roode and Chad Gable split, but we didn't. They just kind of swept it under the rug. And I am really upset that the Revival didn't go to SmackDown. But overall,
yeah, I was expecting that.
Yeah, overall it was an okay shakeup. I think Finn Balor is probably one of the better ones to go to SmackDown. I think he'll shine there more, as we saw on SmackDown. He had a pretty good match with Ali, so we'll see what happens. But I'm kind of glad that we have this variety. I'm starting to wish that there were 2 shakeups a year because it seems like by the end of this year we'll get tired of seeing the same matches. And I know people are upset about not any like major call-ups like Pete Dunne or whatever, but think about it. The roster's already so crowded, and if we got more NXT guys in there, then we just wouldn't know what to do. And you mentioned how Vince is keeping the married couples together. Well, Alexa Bliss and Buddy Murphy are on different shows. I don't know if they're still together or
they're just engaged.
Yeah,
just like
married couples is what I've been noticing.
Just like Charlotte and Andrade, I think they're dating or they're engaged now, but the married people he'll keep together.
Well,
that way they can always travel together and stuff like that,
I'm glad they brought up some of the cruiserweights, so like Cedric Alexander and Buddy Murphy. I think those are 2 of the best ones that you could have brought up because they're not really they're not vanilla midgets or whatever. They're a little bit bigger and have some charisma. So
yeah, and they pretty much done everything on 2 Alive that they both could. They both won the cruiserweight title, so there's nothing else for them there to do.
I would have liked for Drew Gulak or maybe Jack Gallagher to come up. That would have been nice. But overall, guys, who do you think won the shakeup? Aaron, which brand do you think did better?
Too early to say. I mean, I feel like despite whoever's on Raw, whoever's on SmackDown, SmackDown's always going to be the better show because it's 2 hours. So I feel like obviously SmackDown got a huge pick in Roman Reigns, and that's really big for the SmackDown brand. But Raw did get a boost in the tag team division. So to me, it's really close. I don't even know if I have a preference, but I'll have to watch the shows over the next several weeks before I can make a better judgment call on that. I think when we see how Raw is, maybe if Raw improves with the other talents. But again, I don't even know so much how it is the talents. I think it's more about the writing. And I think we're just going to have to wait and see how things play out. It might just be more the same where Raw's just too long and the writing's pretty bad, and SmackDown just being a 2-hour show will flow easier. So we'll see.
I think SmackDown absolutely won because of Roman Reigns. You got to remember, Daniel Bryan is still there too. And I've been waiting for another Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns potential feud because they had some good matches in the past. Now, Kofi, right? I'm sorry, people. Josh Mansfield, Caleb Jacobs, I'm going to continue to drill this home. Transitional Champion 101. He wasn't even in the picture until Mustafa Ali got hurt. Look at SmackDown this week. Look at that WWE title being joked around with Kevin Owens dancing like Big E. The least focus of that segment was the WWE title. And who's holding it? Kofi. I'm just speaking the truth. And now Roman over there, it's just a matter of time, whether you like it or not. Now, I think WWE will be delicate with this. Maybe Roman's in the Money in the Bank, because we all know once he gets pushed back to the top and he gets to that title picture, the boo birds will come back out. Again, we'll see. Now, interestingly enough, The Miz, has he basically jumped ship every superstar shakeup in the past 3 years, it seems
Pretty
like?
much.
And he was like the first guy that did it on Raw. So what do you think now? Last time I checked, wasn't Shane an authority figure on SmackDown? Remember? And Stephanie was Raw. And they kind of just did away with that. So because he's a McMahon, do you expect Shane to be featured on Raw now to continue the program with Miz? I mean, they should count, too, to a point.
Yeah.
Oh, and the announcers weren't shaken up this time. Not that it matters because they're all the same anyway. But I'm surprised Cole didn't go over to SmackDown for his big dog line. You know what I mean?
Yes. No more the big dog. Thank God.
I did call AJ last week. I did say, I thought he would go to Raw. And I think it was you, TJS, or somebody said, no way, because he says this is the house that AJ Styles built. Well, it's time for a refresher.
Well, yeah.
So I was not. What's that, Aaron?
Now every week it's going to be Raw has just gone phenomenal. Yep. He's going to say that every week for the next year now, so get ready for that.
So
who I'm surprised that didn't get traded was Randy Orton.
That's another guy that's probably going to work. That probably might be Roman's first feud because I think they did some stuff off air last night after SmackDown. So that probably, again, they're going to keep Roman, in my opinion, out of that title picture for now, just so he doesn't get those boo birds for people that don't want to see Vince McMahon's guy pushed back up to the top. You know what was funny, guys?
But wait a minute. He's not Vince's guy. Vince got punched in the face by Roman.
Did you see his expression?
Kayfabe, bro. Kayfabe. In real life, we know he's Vince's guy. Now, everybody superstar that stands in the back and watches a monitor, especially if they have titles, has to stand sideways. Vince McMahon understands you stand straight looking at the monitor, and if you go back and you look at that clip, he was right in front of that huge TV screen. That's how an old person watches TV. He was just like looking. I thought that was phenomenal. That might have been the best part of SmackDown last night. Vince McMahon watching the monitor. So I think SmackDown won. Why wouldn't I? Roman Reigns, Kofi Kingston, you're a marked man. Hey, how about the drama? Let's get everybody's thoughts on Sasha Banks. I mean, come on. You are a wrestler. You get paid. Now, if you're in the main event scene, like Seth Rollins, like I don't know how much extra Kofi Kingston's getting, but when you have the big main titles, Becky, they usually do get a little bit more because they're considered the draws with the title. Yeah. But why is Sasha Banks crying over a scripted finish? Now, I'm thinking, and TJS, I'll start with you, because what she did with Bayley in NXT, I think Sasha's head got so big, sorry, Greg Cherry, at that level before she was really in the mainstream, she just thinks she's as good, and maybe she should be as a wrestler, but she can't talk on the mic. I mean, she can't. Neither can Bayley. And I just think her ego got the better of her, and she really thinks she should have been in Becky's place and Charlotte's place. And it just blew a gasket backstage at WrestleMania. So, TGS, what's your thoughts on this, and how do you think it'll affect Bayley? You think Bayley was by association? You think she'll just go into being Bayley, or will she be affected by this?
Well, first of all, I think that if the reports are true about Sasha, then it's very unprofessional. I wasn't a fan of them losing the women's titles either, but come on, if that's what's written, that's what's going to happen. You don't need to be a toddler about it. And Sasha Banks has had a pretty storied career. She's been Raw Women's Champion a ton, and she had a great run in NXT. And I mean, honestly, I've always thought that she was the worst of the 4 horsewomen. I mean, I thought Becky, Charlotte, and Bayley were always better. And like you said, Virtue, Sasha can't cut a promo. Her voice is really annoying. And I don't know. It bothers me. And I think that she's being entitled. And I hope that they don't give in. And they're just like, okay, if you want to leave, you can. Because like Vince says, no one's bigger than the WWE.
She's related to Snoop Dogg.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, see, I don't know. She's marketable as a character, like the whole boss thing, whatever. Like, you see kids wearing, like, the jewelry. But, like I said, I don't think that she's super great or anything. Worst of the 4 horsewomen. And I think Bayley may be turning heel because you heard her on Smackdown. She said that she got all of her hugs out on Raw. And I think that would be a nice change of pace for her. Heel Bayley versus babyface Becky, I'm all for that. I mean, obviously after the Lacey Evans thing, but Big G, what do you think of this whole situation, man?
Well, I don't know what to say really. You know, you have a job, you should be happy, but then again, I mean, maybe she's burnt out from the past couple. From all the years that she's been doing wrestling, and maybe she thinks, you know, she deserves a little bit more than she's being put in. And
maybe she should go back to NXT.
Yeah.
You're a proponent of that.
Yeah. Like I was telling my buddy yesterday, you know, I probably said it on here a couple times already, you know, don't make NXT the developmental brand anymore. Just make it the third brand. And the people that are unhappy on the main roster, let them go back down to NXT because they can do what makes them happy, which is wrestle, you know, make the fans happy. Going back to Sasha Banks, you know, if she ends up leaving, you know, that's up to her. I know she's taking a vacation right now or whatever, or thinking about what her future is going to be. I know her husband, he does all like the costume designs for the superstars in the back, right? If I'm correct. So we'll see. Aaron?
Well, if she is legitimately upset with her position in the company, I do not blame her. I feel like the company has really misused her like they do a lot of people. And I look back to that Sasha Banks versus Bayley storyline from last year and how that was starting to pick up some steam. And then all of a sudden we have Dr. Shelby and the whole thing gets dropped, and then they become a tag team. And then there's some light at the end of the tunnel. You have the women's tag team titles. They win an Elimination Chamber. Cool. That's very good. And then they lose it a month later, which made absolutely no sense. And I talked about this weeks ago when we did the predictions. I'm like, there's no reason for them to lose the titles this soon. You're establishing the new championships. You want to give them credibility. So, yeah, I don't blame them for being upset and being frustrated with how things are playing out. At the end of the day, there are more important things than money, and you need to be able to enjoy your line of work. And if you feel there's no more upward mobility, if there's nowhere to go, then you're going to start feeling frustrated, and you're going to want to take your skills somewhere else. You know, you're going.
That's how Ambrose is feeling too.
And the Iconics are jokes as champions. I don't even think they've won a match since they squashed that team like a couple weeks ago. So what was the point? I get that you want the feel-good moment, but damn it, why do you have to split up Sasha and Bayley? I don't get it, but I don't agree with whining like that. That's just.
But I mean,
that's true.
You know, if we can pick on Sasha and Bayley for not really getting pushed as singles competitors, even though they both had the titles, Sasha had it a few times. Look at Asuka. If you can't talk in the WWE promo, you will not stay on top for the most part, and that's true. I mean, unless you're like Brock Lesnar and you have your Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Bayley and Sasha really have been victim to. Great in-ring workers, but maybe not so much sports entertainers. I mean, it's the thing. When you're in NXT, you learn your entrance. You learn how to work in the ring. They teach promos, but do they really teach promos? I mean, how many people are coming out of NXT cutting great promos? Sami Zayn, but it seems like it's few and far between. So
Also, she might be better off as a heel. Same thing with Bayley, just for them to
I
be
agree
able
with
to
that.
explore their characters more. I mean, look what happened with the New Day. You know, when they went heel, they found themselves and their act got a whole lot stronger.
Which is what I think they should have always done with Roman. I mean, Aaron, that philosophy, back to The Rock, it worked. I mean, The Rock is the biggest star in Hollywood now. Remember, Rocky Maivia was not over as a babyface, Intercontinental Champion. Boom, Rocky die, Rocky sucks, Nation of Domination. Look what happened. Now, I'm not saying everything happens at that level, but that is your prime example. You need to experiment. Aaron, I agree with you. Sasha, the boss, the cocky swagger, I'm Snoop Dogg's niece, whatever, that is heel, cocky heel. They don't cast right sometimes. What about the this trend is really annoying me, Big G. Just really annoying me. Luke
Let me
Harper.
guess.
Luke Harper and I don't even know his first name. Wolf.
Alexander Wolf.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought for some reason I was thinking Killian Dane, but Wolf and Harper publicly saying they asked for the releases. Now this is becoming an epidemic. What do you why do you think this is now? Are they looking at the money at the other upcoming promotion so they are feeling confident? Well, tell me what you think. Tell me. Go.
All right. So you said WWE, they make top, WWE is the biggest company out there right now. So they're going to make top dollar, regardless if you're on the show or not. I think they got to the point where, hey, if you're not going to use me, why am I here? I'm here to wrestle. I'm here to entertain the fans. Put me down back in NXT. Like I said, make that the third brand. People who are unhappy on the main roster, let them go back down there. Let them wrestle. Give them the same amount of money that they were making on the main roster because they've been established. Alexander Wolf, back in NXT, he had a couple single matches and then he joined up with Sanity and, well, you know where Sanity went off to, off in the sunset in the locker room. And Luke Harper, I know Aaron said this plenty of times. He should have been in the WrestleMania match with Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton at WrestleMania 33. That was his time. He could have been a face, but no. And then I know he had a couple injuries too that set him back. And I think they're just frustrated, Like I said, there's nothing else to it. Just frustration. They're burnt out.
TJS,
TV.
What's your thoughts? Because Luke Harper couldn't have been making like top main event money. So, you know what I mean? I think he's a prime candidate to go over to Cody Land. I do. Yeah. That's what I'm going to start calling AEW, Cody Land.
Yeah. It's really sad for me to see Luke Harper go, man, because I've always thought this guy was awesome. He has that unique look to him. I think he looks creepier than like Bray Wyatt or Rowan. Like, man, this guy, like you see him, it's like, oh wow, this guy's he's ugly. Like Aaron says, how Lars Sullivan is. It just looks like somebody you don't want to run into. And
like someone out of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
He definitely has a Bruiser Brody feel to him.
Yes, he does.
And he had a killer match with Dominic Dijakovic on World.
That guy's awesome.
Yeah, he did a Fosbury flop, which was crazy. But I just feel really bad for Luke Harper because this guy could have been. He could have been world champion if you ask me. He could have won the match between Bray and Randy and him if they had that match. He even could do the high flying stuff. Hell of a discus clothesline. I remember he was in the Intercontinental Championship ladder match at WrestleMania 31. And I remember it was a Raw leading up to Survivor Series, and they were looking for someone to join the team. And you could, it just shows his face. He's like, I'm a team player. and then he joined the Survivor Series team. So I just thought that he was really good, and I hope that maybe he reconsiders and stays or something. Same with Ambrose. I'm really sad to see him go. And as we keep seeing the speeches from Ambrose and the Shield's final match or whatever, it's sad because those guys have been on the road together for years, and now it's like it's all gone. They're losing a good friend. And we know how the wrestlers are always on the road, so they'll probably hardly ever see him, and that just really sucks. For Wolf, whatever, man. It sucks about Sanity, but I was never super invested in them.
I'm sure Wolf will go back to Germany and work over there in the indie promotions over there since he is German. So.
If you ask me, Killian Dane is the real star out of those three, and I think that maybe this means big things in his future. So we'll see about that. Aaron, what do you think of all these releases, man?
I feel like it's WCW all over again. You see a bloated roster like WCW circa 1998, and a lot of people are seeing the glass ceiling, and they're seeing perhaps greener pastures somewhere else. They see All Elite Wrestling with all this momentum, and they see that these guys are being paid a good amount of money. AEW appears to have a television deal on the horizon. So I think for a lot of these guys, they see a glass ceiling. They don't see any future in WWE, and they're very passionate, driven people that want to be utilized, and they want a chance to succeed. And when they don't have that chance, they get very frustrated and they want to go elsewhere. And it's not all about the money for these guys. But I mean, definitely the money is a factor when you consider AEW is paying a lot of money to their performers right now. So there is a lot of hope that AEW can be a real alternative to WWE, and I think that's what's happening here. You're seeing more and more guys openly ask for their release, but the question is, will WWE grant it? Will they keep these guys locked in? Will they extend their contracts because of injuries? And Harper was out of action for a while, so WWE could potentially do that to him and just screw with him. So we'll see what happens. I hope Harper succeeds wherever he goes.
Well, go ahead, Big G.
No, go ahead. Finish up because I gotta.
Finish up. I'm going on to the next topic, so you finish up.
And you guys heard what Peyton Royce said about Ty Dillinger. He left because he wanted to wrestle, and that's not what he was doing.
Thank you.
The problem is wrestling doesn't sell. It only sells to the 1.5 million diehard wrestling fans. Sports entertainment sells to the 5 or 6 or 7 million people that used to watch wrestling. That's the truth. That's a statistic. See how worked up that gets me? That is in the statistics. So, what do you think about that, Big G? Everybody wants wrestling. It's wrestling fans. The diehards are the ones that want wrestling. The Meltzers.
Let me ask you this question. How many fans that watched it back in the 90s when it was WWF and WCW, how many of those fans, besides you guys and me, how many do you think still watch the product till this day?
The 1.5 million diehards that want wrestling. The 4 or 5 million casuals that wore NWO shirts because it was cool, and DX shirts and Austin and The Rock, they're gone because we don't have that anymore. They see wrestling and they're like, oh, they took the stories out, they took the characters away. It's just my observation.
Well, it is for me too, because when I go out and run into people, I meet up with people at various functions. A lot of them tell me they used to watch wrestling. That's like the common thing. They used to watch it. They don't watch it anymore.
That was with my girlfriend and her dad. They used to watch wrestling, but now since I watch it, I'm having them watch it again too, trying to get them back into it. And her dad always asks me like, what did Roman Reigns do this week? And who did this and who did that? And I was like, okay, he's getting into it again.
It's really fun.
Well, you know what? Go ahead, TJ, because this is going to segue to the next topic, but finish up first.
Yeah. When I was in high school, which was, I've been out of high school for 3 years. When I was in there.
That's it?
I graduated in 2016. When people would tell me that wrestling was like fake or bad or whatever, I would get so offended. But now I'm just like, I can't argue with that. Sometimes WWE just makes me want to bang my head against the wall. And I don't get upset about it. I'm just like, yeah, you're right. The writing's not good. So
Yeah.
Okay, so AEW is obviously looks like they're going to be landing on the Turner networks. So Big G, put your glasses back on because you keep saying T-shirt company. We have news this past week that they're most likely going to be on Turner Broadcasting, TBS, TNT. That means there's TV deals looming. That's what you need to be a wrestling company. And look, when wrestling was at its best, when there was 2 wrestling shows on Monday night. Now I'm not saying that this is where this is going. They were each drawing 4 to 5 million viewers. Now, a lot of that overlapped. So some people like Vince Russo that says there used to be 10 million wrestling fans. No, there might have been like 7.5 million wrestling fans. How do we get back there at least halfway? Maybe this TV deal with AEW, sparking another brand, something bigger and badder than TNA ever was. Maybe we'll actually have some competition again. Now you're having wrestlers, right? They want their releases. Who knows where they're going to go? If they go over here to AEW, now you're seeing, well, they used to be in WWE. And it brings that back at least a little bit, Aaron. What do you think? Like, I kind of want to see, I know it's not going to be the Monday Night Wars, but at least I can feel that there's going to be competition. And guess who reacts when there's competition? Vince McMahon. He's not reacting right now. What do you think?
DX certainly mentioned AEW enough times during the Hall of Fame. I'll just say this. AEW in one show, Double or Nothing, they drew a bigger crowd than any crowd TNA could ever draw. TNA never packed a 15,000-seat arena like AEW did, and that's with one show. So there is a lot of hope that AEW can be a successful brand. They have momentum on their side. They have a cult following, and word of mouth will definitely help them. Like I've said before, it's going to be down to consistency. Can they produce quality shows on a weekly basis? If they can do that, then WWE might eventually have some real competition on their hands in the United States. And finally, there might be another company that can cut into WWE's market share. But like you point out, Virtue, it's going to be a lot of work because WWE stock it's getting close to $100. So despite domestic business being down, WWE as a worldwide brand is still extremely powerful, and they have so many different revenue streams, Saudi Arabia, the Fox deal, that they're in no danger of going into the red anytime soon. So they're really dominant. They're still a very strong global brand, and it's going to take a lot for AEW to really cut into that market share that WWE has. So we'll see what happens.
And that might be their own worst enemy, making all that global money. They just don't feel the drive domestically, and the people, the Titos of the world are saying, oh, the ratings are down, house show attendance is down, but they're ignoring the fact WWE is still making money hand over fist. TJS, what do you think on this?
Well,
how old were you around the Monday Night War?
2.
Just a pup? So you really only know what you see from the network or on YouTube. Would you like to experience something like this maybe for your generation?
Yeah, I would love to have something like that, but I don't think it's gonna happen. If AEW wanted to usurp WWE from the position that they're in, it would take like 10 years, maybe longer, if they want to do the international thing. And I feel like AEW is a fad, and they'll probably fizzle out.
But TJS, they don't have to do it internationally. Maybe AEW attacks the domestic market, which is what they're doing, I think. That's where WWE's weak right now because they care about the rest of the world so much.
Yeah, I just kind of look at AEW as like XFL versus NFL, and I think we saw how well XFL did. It lasted for a little bit and then just fell off.
It's coming back though.
Yeah, that's true. We'll see how that is.
Why is it coming back? Because Vince McMahon has play money. If he has play money, he's doing good.
Right.
That's true, yeah. And WWE are, like I say all the time, Vince is rolling around in money. He uses a stack of hundreds as a pillow. It's crazy how much money these guys have. And I don't know if AEW is going to be able to put on a weekly show that the casuals are going to want to watch. Because like you guys keep saying, you have to have characters. You have to have stories. And I feel like AEW is just going to be like pure wrestling, not much else.
Well, Jericho and JR, they got pieces in place that can hopefully preach that.
Yeah,
right.
Seeds planted, and there's a chance that it could happen. But And it is impressive that they drew the 10,000 for their first show. But was that? Think about it, guys. Do you think that people attended that show because or do you think they enjoyed it, or do you think they just wanted to buy their ticket to say like, oh, I made history by going to this show? I feel like that's the thing, and there's just, if you look at this objectively, and you weren't like a wrestling fan or whatever, and you watched like All In versus I don't know, not WrestleMania because that's too long. A pay-per-view about the same length. I bet like the standard guy would say, hey, I like WWE more because there's more story in it. With All In, you had the Joey Ryan penis Drew, but there wasn't much.
And they did the run-in with Jericho, as Penta or whatever. I mean,
I think Jericho is the biggest name that they've got, even bigger than Owen. So it's up to them what they do. So I don't know.
And they may get some bigger stars soon, so we got to see how things play out. They may get a few more top-level guys in that company, but it's also important for them to build their own stars. They just don't want to be labeled as the company that picks up WWE rejects. They want to be able to develop their own superstars and their own characters that are different from WWE. So if they can do that, if they can provide a consistently entertaining show that has quality to it, and they can make their own stars, they have a real shot at succeeding. What I find interesting is that Big G is such a proponent of the wrestling aspect of sports entertainment, yet he doesn't seem to be on board with AEW. So what's up with that, Big G?
Spotlight.
Whoop-de-frickin-do. AEW might be getting a TV deal. Impact 2.0, people. It's going to take years for AEW to catch up to WWE. Yeah, they might cause a little spark or something here or there. But like I said before, I have my NXT and my NXT UK. That's my wrestling niche right there.
You feel AEW is going to threaten that, and that's why you're so defensive about this.
Well, you know what? I can't be defensive about it. Anyways, AEW, I got 2 words for you. Wait, maybe 3. You're going to fail. That's all I have to say. Mic drop.
Hold on. I don't think that it's right. Okay, let me just say, I don't think AEW is going to usurp WWE, but I'm still going to watch the show. Like, I want them to thrive.
Like I've said, TJS, there is so much wrestling out there that people are going to get burnt out from watching too much wrestling. Why in the world are you going to add another wrestling company out there?
But you're okay with WWE doing it? NXT UK.
Yeah,
because that's under the WWE umbrella, Virtue. Yeah, I'm talking about.
That makes a difference?
Yes, it does.
That's so much under the WWE umbrella. Like, WWE is monopolizing the market because ROH or TNA or any of those other major wrestling companies, they're just not doing it. But you have AEW, where they're getting AEW chants on Raw. They sold out 2 like big events so far, and people are still calling them a T-shirt company. Come on, guys. I mean, they're going to sneak up on us, I think, and maybe they'll have a short-term effect. But like I said, the long-term, they're just going to have to be consistent. I don't want them to fail, though. I want them to catch up with Raw, and I want there to be competition so Vince McMahon will actually try it, if that makes sense.
Tony Khan, all he has to do is make one call to somebody in Chicago and throw enough money at him, even if it's short term, even if it's a 6-month deal, because CM Punk doesn't want to do it forever. You tell me that Khan brings in Punk, they come to some agreement to stick it to WWE, and you have Kenny Omega out there and Punk's music hits and comes out and faces Kenny Omega face to face, the internet, Aaron's site will explode. Punk, why not? He got his butt kicked twice for millions of dollars. Why wouldn't he go back and work a 6-month program for an upcoming wrestling promotion? I'm saying never say never.
Stick it to Vince.
That's right.
Do what he's good at, yeah.
We'll see. Daniel Bryan's wrestling again. Let's transition back to WWE, of course. Ronda Rousey taking her time off now, right? Did she have a broken hand, gentlemen, I believe? She was getting it fixed?
Yeah, well, she apparently had surgery on Tuesday.
She wants a baby. So here's my thing. Is that a work or not? Now, yes, we know she wants a family and baby, but like if you're out right now and you're going to mother a child, That's over a year. I mean, that could be 2 years before she's back. So what's everybody's thoughts with Ronda being away and this baby talk? TJS, I'm going to start with you because it seems like they still she probably wants to finish her career in wrestling before she starts the family. I don't know. It just seems weird. Baby talk right now would put her out to me indefinitely.
Yeah, I think if she needs a baby, I'll help her out. But anyway, I think that this whole
No, you only help out EC3.
I think that this whole I believe the hashtag was impregnation vacation that she posted. I think that's a work.
Yeah.
I think blatantly too obvious because I felt like this was a work from the beginning. Back when we did the predictions video, I picked Ronda to win because I felt like this whole thing about her leaving after WrestleMania was just too obvious. So I imagine that she'll be on the sidelines until maybe Money in the Bank or something, and then she'll beat up Becky Lynch after the match with Lacey Evans. I think that I'm not happy with the finish of WrestleMania because I wanted it to be decisive, and it wasn't. So there was no real torch passing or whatever. It's crazy to say Ronda would pass the torch when she's been wrestling way less time, but she was the bigger star until Becky turned heel, and that's what I want. I want there to be a one-on-one match where Ronda taps out, and then if she wants to be done with the company, she can be done with the company, but I'm definitely not happy with the WrestleMania finish, so we'll see what happens. I feel like they'd save that match for a big stage. Maybe she'll attack at Money in the Bank or whatever, and then they'll say, like, me and you, WrestleMania next year, like Rock and Cena did. I don't know. Aaron, what do you think about this whole situation? Do you think we're going to get Ronda and Becky in a one-on-one match?
Well, I do. It's just a matter of when. I feel like she's going to be gone now for probably the rest of the year because with the hand surgery, that's not something that she's going to be able to recover from right away. So don't see her appearing at Money in the Bank. I feel like she's going to be back maybe Royal Rumble, somewhere around there. I think she's going to be gone for the rest of the year. I think there's maybe a small chance she comes back sooner, but I think she's going to – I think the hand injury just set everything in stone. Maybe she was on the fence about it, but the hand injury pretty much just said, maybe to her that's a sign you got to take some time off and try to start a family. It's a sign, fate is telling you to do this or whatever she thinks. So yeah, I don't think we're going to see her back anytime soon. And I agree with you, TJS. I think that finish could have been done better. I think it should have been more decisive. Becky should have tapped her out. Would have really put Becky over all that more. I think what they did was a little bit of a cop out. So yeah, not much else to say about it.
It's like a fluke victory. And also, how long before Becky fizzles out? I mean, I believe they should strike the iron while it's hot and not wait like a year or two down the line before they do this match because, I mean, are people still going to care about Becky this time next year?
I think so.
Know. Fickle.
That's right. Big G, what's your thoughts? You're a Ronda, Mark.
Yeah, I think, with the hand injury, she'll be out for a while, maybe until SummerSlam, or like even Aaron said, the Royal Rumble. If she wants to start a family, good for her. She's not getting any younger, and a lot of people nowadays want to have a family. Think about it. She's done a lot in the past year since WrestleMania 34. She debuted at the Royal Rumble, had her match of the night with Kurt Angle, Triple H, and Stephanie, and she main evented WrestleMania 35. And I think the reason, I don't know if it's true or not, but I think maybe why they did that finish is, Ronda can say her shoulder is never down, when they counted the 1, 2, 3, because it looked like when he hit 2, her shoulder came up, and he counted 3. So Ronda could come back and say, hey, technically I was never pinned or submitted. So that could set up the match for them maybe at SummerSlam in Toronto for you guys. And you guys can see that one-on-one match.
Now, I feel like she may rush with the pregnancy because I'm just thinking the 9 months in my head. That would be January when she would give birth. If she got pregnant this month, then she would be having her baby around January, so she might need time to recover from that, although she's Ronda Rousey. But she might be thinking, if I could get this pregnancy done quickly, I can be back in time for next year's WrestleMania and
Nice.
recover really
Sometimes it happens quickly, Aaron.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Some have early births.
Would you guys tell me how you guys would feel if Ronda Rousey went to the Hall of Fame next year? Would you guys be insulted by that?
They wouldn't.
They would. It's too early.
It would be insulting, and the whole world would let them know. So that's why it wouldn't.
If she's just done with wrestling, like if WrestleMania was her final match this year, and they're like, yeah, Ronda Rousey's going to be in the Hall of Fame, you guys wouldn't be cool with that?
It's too early.
Aaron?
I wouldn't be, because it wouldn't happen.
We'd have to deal with it regardless, because they're gonna do what they're gonna do, and like TJS and myself and Big G, we complain, but we're gonna keep watching.
It's true. Right? All right, so Lacey Evans is now all of a sudden in the main event. Is this the new norm? Jinder Mahal, Ronda Rousey, Kofi Kingston. Is this the new norm, this pushing talent like you wouldn't expect to be in a title picture up so soon? They just don't have a system anymore.
Now hold on. This isn't like Jinder Mahal, because Jinder was being enhancement talent for the past 6 months before he even got that big push. Lacey Evans is a newcomer. I look at her
Which is worse. Because she's not even exposed to the casuals or nobody. She's just a new face out of nowhere. Your championship material. At least Jinder Mahal was there traveling, doing this, doing that. Stop with the Jinder hate. I don't like Jinder's not my favorite either, but stop with that stupid Jinder hate.
It's different. Razor Ramon was pushed into a feud with Randy Savage.
You just want to hate Jinder because it's cool, because the internet hates Jinder. You stupid marks.
I don't hate Jinder.
God, stop with Jinder. I agree. His WWE title reign didn't make sense, but it's no different than Lacey Evans getting an opportunity. Now, granted, she's probably not going to win this. And Kofi, 11-year veteran, whatever. Aaron, I'll start with you. What's your thoughts on Lacey? I mean, I just think it's something to kill time with Becky because they're lost right now.
Well, yeah, they want to get a fresh face in there to face her, which to me makes sense. You want to have some new people pushed. And we've seen over the years new characters come in, and the best way to get them over with the crowd is to give them a hot start. You don't want to just bring them in and have them fizzle out right away. And regarding Jinder, I have no problem with Jinder. I think it's silly that he got buried as much as he did. I mean, they put the WWE title on him, and then he's back to being an enhancement guy, which is just, in my opinion, stupid, because it waters down the championship even more. The fact that the former WWE champion is back to being the curtain jerker. They should have at least
3MB back together, right? They're all in the same brand, right?
Oh, they are.
3-man band.
Do it. And then Drew can beat him up to get over.
Oh, there you go. All right, so Big G, what do you think about Lacey?
Southern
I
Belle.
like Lacey Evans. It's a different character. We haven't seen, the sassy Southern Belle, the whole 60s thing and whole Southern thing, and that moonsault she did the other night was pretty nice. I enjoyed that. That's the wrestling in me. Is it too early for them to be in title pictures? I mean, it is what it is nowadays, Look at Kofi, it took him 11 years, so it could take somebody 2 months to be starting up, and they'll be in the WWE or the title picture. And she's only going after the Raw's title. I think Bayley said she wanted to go after the Smackdown Women's title, so we'll see.
TJS, you look like you want to rage.
Unify the damn titles, okay? This is kind of dumb. You're having Becky come out every week, and this is how you get overexposed. You have someone come out.
Of course there is.
What just happened there?
Keep carrying on, Aaron. You're going to have to do an edit. You want to just wait until he's back and then do an edit?
No, he's back. We're good. Keep going, TJS.
Okay. So this is how you get overexposure. You have this is how you get overexposure. You have someone come out every week and cut the same promo on Raw and SmackDown, and that's what's happening with Becky. Vince does this where it's like, oh, they like Becky, I'll get it. And then we get too much Becky, and that's the effect that we have. And yeah, I like Lacey Evans. She's if anyone's a credible challenger, I think it's Lacey, because she was in the Marines, and I think that's a worthy accolade. And you could say, like, yeah, she's in the Marines, she could punch really hard.
Was she really in the Marines, or is that a part of the script?
She was really in there, and
Yeah.
I think that's really cool.
Oh, welcome back, Big G. You made it back?
I did.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I think that I enjoy Lacey's character a lot because, I mean, we don't really get characters nowadays. So when you have someone coming out with the whole old-timey dressing thing, speaking all proper or whatever, I like it. And I don't like the sassy Southern Belle name. I think that's dumb. Why not just call her the Lady, which is what she was being called in NXT? But whatever. I think Becky and her should have a pretty good match. And I am upset that there's no system, like you guys said, that you're either in the title picture or you're not. There's no middle ground. There's no number one contender matches. No one earns the title matches. It seems like they're just in them now, and it bugs me. So that's all
All
I
right.
got to about that.
Let's move to the main event. So we talked about this earlier. Roman Reigns. When do you guys think will be a good time to get him back in the main event? Because I feel like he's back way earlier than I thought. I mean, I thought he could be out for a year or 2 years. And he came back, and he's already, obviously, in a big spot on SmackDown. With that said, he's still kind of getting a mixed reaction, but more cheers than before. A lot of it's, because of the leukemia. So when do you think is a good time for him to get back in the main event? Obviously, SmackDown's coming to Fox soon. Big G, I'm going to start with you. When is the big dog going to claim his yard back, which is now that title that Kofi Kingston is holding?
Well, like you said, Kofi's a transitional champion. I want to say SummerSlam, but I don't know. That's still too early. I want to say by next year's WrestleMania, he'll be back in the title picture. Like you said, if they put him back too early, they'll start doing him again, and I don't think that's what Vince wants. So they're taking it like step by step, like trying to push the envelope a little bit more each time to see how far they can get with him to the point where they're not going to boo him.
That's a good analogy. I like that.
So if you push him, well, there goes that whole leukemia thing that he had, and everybody's going to forget about that. I mean, yeah, let's calm down already because he's been back, what, two or 3 months already now since February.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And like I said, I think WrestleMania next year would be the perfect time. They're in Tampa Bay and Florida, so perfect timing.
TJS.
It might not be against Kofi Kingston. I think Kofi's going to lose it to somebody.
Oh, definitely, absolutely. Kofi at worst will lose it to the Money in the Bank winner.
Yeah. So.
TJS.
Do you guys know if SmackDown's going to be taped on Tuesdays still when it moves to Fox? I know it's going to
air Fridays.
Yeah, it's going to air on Fridays. Is it going to be live? Do you guys know?
Yeah, it's going to be live.
Okay. Well, in that case, I bet Roman wins the title like on the Fox premiere or something.
You know what, TJS? Part of me can see that. I really can.
There's no way they're waiting until WrestleMania. Like, Roman Reigns is not about to sit in the mid-card for that long. The big dog has got to hunt. Ooh-ah. So I think that I think he's going to be the one to take the title off Kofi, and maybe they'll turn him heel. I don't know. Actually, maybe we should say they're not going to turn him heel, and then they'll do reverse psychology or something. But I think if you're going to bring Roman to SmackDown, I think Elias is a good first feud for him because Elias draws the heat really good. So you can have Elias crap on the sports team and then have Roman come out in the jersey or something.
I think it'll be Orton. I think Roman's feud will be Orton, to be honest with you. Elias will just be in that mixing it up with everybody like he does.
Yeah, I think that'll be good too. I don't know. Roman, I just feel like Seth is really taking a back seat now since Roman's on SmackDown and SmackDown's the show. Rollins has worked so hard for so long, and now he's just like the secondary champion on the secondary show. Sucks for him, but
now, Aaron, I'm curious your thoughts here because traditionally for the last year, 2 years, SmackDown has been the better show in a lot of, your opinion, a lot of people's opinion. Now with Roman Reigns being the focal point or one of the major focal points of SmackDown, what's your take on that, and when do you think he's back? in the main
On
event?
top, well, I think it'll be as soon as SummerSlam, and I agree with TJS. I think it will not be any later than the first SmackDown on Fox. As to who he beats, maybe not Kofi, although I could see them having a match at some point for sure. But I feel like Kofi's going to have a decent run, and I think if anything, the transitional champion will be the guy that beats Kofi, and then that guy will lose to Reigns, and Reigns will go back to being the babyface champion. So I'm thinking maybe there's a slight chance that somebody like Lars Sullivan, maybe he'll be Lars by then, he'll lose Sullivan. I feel like he might beat Kofi if his momentum continues. I could see Lars possibly being the one to beat Kofi maybe 3 or 4 months down the line, and then Roman. It'll be like WrestleMania.
That's such a Vince McMahon story right there, too.
WrestleMania 9 all over again. Yokozuna beats Bret Hart, and then Hulk Hogan comes out to save the day. That's what I think is going to happen.
I could see that. I could see the Money in the Bank winner being a heel, too, and cashing in on Kofi, and that gets it on a heel, and whoever that heel is will be thrown to Roman. A lot of possibilities there.
You have Big Show come out because do you guys remember when he had that ironclad contract a few years ago? He'll come out there and say, ironclad contract.
Yeah, but they're looking for someone for storyline continuity. They don't even have that role filled right now.
Ooh.
Yeah, so nobody knows that besides us.
Hey, did you guys like the punch that, or the bump that Vince took when he got that Superman punch? It was really weird to me.
Vince can't do it like he used to. I mean, he couldn't really do it then, right? Look at the stunner. But there was a charm. There was always a charm about Vince.
Speaking of the stunner, I like how Rusev sold Kevin Owens a stunner like Vince did in 1997 with Austin at Madison Square Garden.
You think that was like a troll or a rib? I kind of do.
He purposely, I think, sold it the same way Vince did, where he bumped forward instead of the usual way.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, that's all I got, man. I mean, let's go around and do our plugs. Another jam-packed NoDQ review. Heck, next week we're going to be at 5-5. You know what? Maybe next week TJS will debut that new segment. I don't want to tell people what it is, though. So go ahead, TJS. Start away with your plugs.
NoDQ.com/TJS takes you to my Facebook page. I am no longer Facebook post blocked. I was for some reason that I don't know. I really don't know. But they didn't tell me what it was.
Was it something to do with the president?
I don't think so. I don't think that I posted.
Because Facebook is very anti your favorite president.
Yeah,
so I'm just saying.
Maybe if I posted Orange Man bad, then they'll unban me or something.
Okay.
I don't know. But Twitter at NoDQ_TJS. Follow me there. And also, I made a pretty funny video about Vince McMahon getting the Viking experience. You should watch that. NoDQ.com retweeted it. Also, add me on PlayStation Network, Tyler Joseph Smith, and let's play some games or something. Big G.
Yes, NoDQ.com/Big G. It's my Twitter page. NoDQ_Big G on Instagram. Jeff Phillips on Facebook. NoDQ.com/shirts. Everybody has shirts.
Except
NoDQ.com/#FireVirtue. Aaron's wearing Wrestling Trivia Challenge. And TDS is wearing some Alabama shirt. Anyway, that's it for the Big G. Aaron, take it away.
All right, well, just stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest regarding WWE heading into the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, which is actually over a month away, so we actually have a little bit of breathing time to relax. Also, Double or Nothing is coming up in May, so May is... Oh, boy.
Saudi Arabia show, too.
But that's in June.
Oh, is it?
That's in June, so we got about a little over a month until Money in the Bank and then Double or Nothing, but all the latest news will be up on NoDQ.com, so check that out. And maybe next week we'll see TGS wear a NoDQ shirt. Maybe not. I don't know.
Listen, I had a NoDQ shirt on today, and then I went to Burger King and had an Angry Whopper, and I got the sauce all over the shirt.
You should have had that on. You should have had that on with the Whopper stuff still dripping on it.
It adds character to your T-shirt.
Okay, fine. I'll do it next time.
All right, sounds good.
All right, well, stay tuned, everybody.
NoDQ shirt. Bring it. Just sing it. Bring it.
Or as always, stay tuned. You can follow me on Twitter at NoDQ_Virtue. My Facebook is NoDQ.com/Virtue with the lowercase v. That's it for this week, folks. For Big G, for TJS, and for Aaron Rift, I'm Virtue. See you next week.